Good. That's a staging area.
And my friends told me that they received a notification of a shooting incident just 1 block away from us. So we decided to close all the doors and turn all the lights off and hide under the desks.
I was scared. I see it I've never seen it in so many police cars in one area ever in my life. And it's just it's crazy. And my prayers go out to all the families, and it's a relief that my sister made it home safe.
Today is a day that the city of Providence and the state of Rhode Island prayed would never come. We've heard about horrific acts of gun violence and active shooter situations in other places, but not here.
Our focus right now is on supporting the families who have been affected by this. We will come together as a
person of interest detained after Brown University shooting. Police in Rhode Island said early Sunday that they had a person of interest in custody after a shooting that rocked the Brown University campus during final exams, leaving 2 people dead and 9 others wounded. Call Oscar Perez, chief of the Providence Police, confirmed at a news conference that the detained person was in their 30s. Perez did not say where they were arrested or whether they were connected to the university. The shooting erupted in the engineering building of the Ivy League school in Providence, Rhode Island, during final exams. Hundreds of police officers had scoured the Brown University campus, along with nearby neighborhoods, and poured over video in pursuit of a shooter who opened fire in a classroom.
Providence leaders warned that residents will notice a heavier police presence on Sunday. Many local businesses announced they would remain closed and expressed shock and heartbreak as the community continued to process the news of the shooting. "Everybody's reeling, and we have a lot of recovery ahead of us," said Brown University President Christina Paxson said at the news conference. The Democratic senator for Rhode Island, Jack Reed, has been on Fox News this morning, describing how the attack shook the entire state. Reed hailed law enforcement agencies for detaining a person of interest within 12 hours of the attack that killed 2 people. He said, "But it still doesn't diminish the real horror and the pain that this caused to everyone in this state." Senator Chris Murphy criticized the Trump administration for failing to protect Americans from gun crime, accusing the U.S. president of being engaged in a dizzying campaign to increase violence in this country. Since coming back into office, Donald Trump has dismantled the White House Office of Gun Violence Prevention and directed Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, to review federal gun laws to weed out any ongoing infringements of the Second Amendment. In March, his administration removed an advisory from Vivek Murthy, the former Surgeon General, on gun violence as a public health issue from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services website. The next month, the Justice Department cut more than $800 million in grants, including community-based violence intervention programs that were managed by the Justice Department's Office of Justice Programs, OJP. While big asks from gun rights organizations have gone unanswered, behind the scenes, Trump's Department of Justice has also proven to be largely gun-friendly. In April, the Justice Department nixed a Biden-era zero-tolerance policy for gun dealers who willfully failed to follow federal guidelines. In May, the department reversed a years-long precedent that prohibited the sale of devices called forced reset triggers that can be affixed to rifles and allowed to fire rapidly. Before the DOJ's recent intervention, the items were classified as machine guns. Speaking to CNN, Murphy said, "He's knowingly restoring gun rights to dangerous people. He is cutting off grants that have bipartisan support to try to interrupt violence in our cities or to try to get necessary mental health resources to families and children in need. The evidence tells you that when you stop funding mental health, when you stop funding community anti-gun violence programs, when you give gun rights back to dangerous people, you are going to have an increase in violence. That is knowable and that is foreseeable." The deadly attack in Providence came on the eve of the 13th anniversary of the Sandy Hook school shooting that left 26 people dead. Democratic Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy, who was elected just weeks before that horrific attack, told CNN he was mourning for the people killed at Brown University and expressed his hope that those who were wounded would recover from their injuries.
Speaking on the anniversary of Sandy Hook, Murphy said the parents of the victims would relive the horror of that day, adding that a community never, ever recovers from a shooting like this, and the trauma and the cost is not just in the lives lost. Condemning the frequency of mass shootings in the United States, Murphy also said, "Those kids who are returning to campus are going to be looking over their shoulder, wondering whether they are going to survive their next day in class, as kids all across America do every single day that they show up in their classroom, wondering whether they someday are going to have to flee for their lives." We think maybe at least 2 of the kids at this shooting had already survived a previous shooting when they were in elementary and secondary school. That is just not a reality that we should accept in this nation for our kids. Officials have not yet found the gun. Armed with a handgun, the shooter fired more than 40 9mm rounds, according to a law enforcement official. Authorities as of Sunday morning had not recovered a gun, but did find 2 loaded 30-round magazines, the official told AP, speaking on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to publicly discuss the investigation. Person of interest was detained at a hotel near Providence, FBI says. The FBI has now said the person of interest was taken into custody at a Hampton Inn hotel in Coventry, about 20 miles, 32 kilometers, from Providence. Officers remained on the scene there, with police tape blocking off a hallway, the Associated Press reports. 7 students in critical but stable condition, 1 student in critical condition. Brown University President Christina Paxson gave an update on the condition of the students injured in the attack. She said 7 of the students remained in critical but stable condition, 1 student remains in critical condition. She added, "Our prayers continue to be with them and their families." 1 student was discharged from the hospital last night and left with their parents. She added, "And of course, we continue to support the families of the 2 students who died. There are not enough words of comfort for families who lose a child, but we will do all we can." Paxson also announced there would be support offices set up across campus for those affected by the shooting. She said, "We know that the stress of this situation will live with our community for hours and days and weeks to come. We will find ways to be in community with each other."